Who's that coming down the track? Who's that coming down the track? It's a me that she is red and white. Me that she is red and white. Ain't nothing finer in the red. Ain't nothing finer in the red. Them drunk obnoxious drunk men. Them drunk obnoxious drunk men. Let 'em up. Let 'em up. What's up, y'all? This is John and Caleb, and Mike will be joining us here in a minute. Back for another episode of the Nothing Finer podcast. I'm sure you can tell if you've listened to the show for a while. This is not my normal voice. Went on vacation this past weekend. First one we have just taken for ourselves since quite literally February of 2020. And I got sick to the point that my wife thinks it is bronchitis going to pneumonia here shortly if I don't start feeling better. But trying to get an episode out for y'all. I am going to do my best to not cough directly in your ear. So I will be muted for most of the episode. Once Mike joins us, Mike and Caleb are going to kind of go back and forth, and I'm going to give my takes. But I don't want to cough directly in anyone's ear. But how are you doing?
I am pretty good. I got a new chair for Christmas as a gift from my mother that I am testing out for the first time tonight. In the past, for the last few weeks, I've been sitting on a really uncomfortable stool to do this and just trying my best because our desk chair we had in here, which was a very old chair from Goodwill, just completely broke apart uh, right before we went live actually on a show. And I had to scramble and grab that stool, and that's what I've been using ever since. So it's nice to have back support again. Um, and I'm just drinking a sweet tea. So as briefly as possible, I guess, for the sake of your voice, how are you doing, and what are you drinking?
I have a cup of hot tea. It's blueberry acai
Ooh,
with some honey in it. So it tastes very good. Um, outside of being sick, I'm okay. Like I just, the whole like not really being able to breathe or talk or
yeah,
I will say I killed a bottle this week of Dayquil. And tonight I will finish my first bottle of NyQuil. So
nice.
hell yeah, dude. Nobody loves just taking the most disgusting tasting medicine more than me. I will say Cepacol, cough drops, and hot beverages have been the only reason that I have been able to do anything this week.
Gotcha. I'll have to keep that brand in mind because cough drops never do anything for me. So,
So these you actually have to be 18 or older to buy these.
oh, they're the good stuff. Okay,
Yes.
cool.
Like your entire mouth and throat just go entirely numb.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will keep that in mind. All right, we gonna dive into the very funny thing that's gonna be happening tomorrow night. Alabama. We're talking about the college football playoff, y'all. First of all, awesome that the college football playoff is finally here. And second of all, Alabama at Oklahoma, Friday night game. One of the two night games this weekend. The other one should not be a night game, but is because it's on the West Coast. We'll talk about that later. Alabama is a 1.5 point favorite in this one. The over
Did it
under.
move?
Oh, I'm sorry. Oklahoma is a 1.5 point favorite.
Okay.
It didn't move. I misread. It's been going back and forth though.
It has.
It's been interesting to see. Over under is 40 and a half. I'm gonna let you go through your couple of notes here.
All right. And I didn't write as much down as I normally do because I'm not going to be able to talk as much. I will say a lot of people have seemingly forgotten what happened either the last two times that these teams played, or what happened in Atlanta a couple of weeks ago, or what Auburn's defensive front did to Alabama the week before that.
The number
Um,
of people still talking about Alabama as an actual national championship threat has been absurd to me.
yes, 100%. I agree with that. I just like and not only because of what their offensive line has been incapable of doing, or that their defense has shown weaknesses, and by that I mean physically weakness. Um, Ty Simpson, there are significant rumors from trustworthy people that he is very hurt, like
Mm-hmm.
herniated disc or broken ribs or like potentially lifelong injuries, hurt kind of thing. Um, and he clearly isn't right. And
Mm-hmm.
if he was voluntarily going down deep behind the line of scrimmage against a Georgia team that struggled to get to the quarterback for most of the season, the OU defensive front is going to hurt that man.
Yeah.
And like I understand that this is the healthiest Alabama will be in a while and has been, but they still have to have someone go out there and run routes. Like they
Yep.
can't have 23 personnel and nobody actually go run routes. Yeah, it's not a thing. So the problem is this is also the healthiest that Oklahoma's defense has been since around the Alabama game as well. R. Mason Thomas come back. R. Mason Thomas was out for that game, and Alabama still got demolished up front by Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't necessarily see Alabama being able to flip the switch and figure out the OU defense. So I think it comes down to how close John Mateer is to being healthy. He doesn't have the brace. He's reportedly looking good in practice as long as he isn't tripping over blocking dummies.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I do think that OU completes the trifecta by beating Alabama, and that's just because of how physical Alabama is not this season.
We have definitely made the observation that they are soft and they're I could count on one hand with fingers to spare the number of games where that has not been the case. Uh, a couple weeks ago, I came on here and I picked Alabama to beat Georgia in the SEC championship game, and a lot of people are still angry at me about it on social media, but I did it because I wasn't going to pick Georgia to win that game until I saw them do it.
We believe in intellectual honesty. I'm
Yes,
sorry.
we do, and that's fine. Um, it would be hypocritical of me, therefore, not to treat Alabama the same way. Especially since the game is in Norman, and especially if Ty Simpson's injury is as serious as the reports make it out to be. I know, like I said, a lot of national media types still want Alabama to be taken seriously in this playoff, but the dynasty's dead. Oklahoma is knocking them right out of this one. And I don't just think that, like genuinely, I don't just think that because of the streak Oklahoma has against Alabama, or just because of the Ty Simpson thing. I just think I've seen enough from Alabama to see their regression has been rapid downhill. And I don't see them turning that around in time for the playoff. I just don't.
And the thing about Alabama is it's not so when Saban was there and when there were still players that had been dyed in the wool Saban players, right? Like a
Mm-hmm.
second or third year guy that was fully in the system. Nothing snowballed for Alabama.
Yeah,
One player got hurt. They're like, okay, whatever, next guy up. And the next guy was up. But without Nick Saban and without those type of players, if somebody gets hurt, it's an excuse. Next
yeah,
player gets hurt because he's doing something stupid. It's an excuse. Like they used the coaches and players used injuries as an excuse after the SEC championship game.
which is wild.
From a team that has no excuses, literally in their facility, they
They sure
made
make.
so many of them, and that's
Mm-hmm.
I think the snowball effect is what's going to kill Alabama and their. I think it's going to finish killing the dynasty. Is they just snowball, not as bad as Florida State, but if they don't watch out, it could be.
Yeah. Um. Mike has also added here Oklahoma has been a popular dark horse pick to make it to the national championship due to their potential path. Lots of unproven teams on their path to the Miami Gardens. I can agree with that. Last time these teams played Alabama, last time these teams played, comma, punctuation is key, comma, Alabama outgained OU by something like 200 yards, albeit Alabama had a ton of turnovers, which ultimately cost him. We talked about Ty's health, but it'll also be the healthiest John Mateer has been since the Michigan game. Uh, Temp at kickoff, he feels like is around 35 degrees. That's conducive to teams that can run the ball. Oklahoma's not great, but they've had more rushing yards as a team in the SEC championship than Bama did. Fair. The Boz is the guest kicker for game day on Friday. Apparently, they're doing game day on Friday. That's good to know.
Friday and
Oklahoma,
Saturday.
yeah, yeah. Which a side note with that, I'll be able at work tomorrow to watch a couple of bowl games, and that is my favorite time of the year. I can watch the Myrtle Beach Bowl kick off at 11 a.m. tomorrow while I'm sitting there in my cubicle. Uh, Stoked for that. I used to watch the Bahamas Bowl every year there, but we're not doing that anymore, and it makes me sad.
It is.
hmm Oklahoma does their part to get us closer to a rematch of one of the best Rose Bowls of all time, but this time in the national championship. I don't know about that happening, but Oklahoma covers and advances. So it sounds like we all think that Alabama is going to lose to Oklahoma for a third time in a row.
Yeah, and this is when I was doing my radio recording this morning. I said there's two things that travel in college football: running game and defense.
hmm
Alabama's not great at either this year.
That's very true. All right, we ready to move on to the Carson Beck show? Miami at Texas A&M. A&M is currently a 3.5 point favorite. Over under is 48.5, which seems low to me. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily understand the A&M doubt, and I know they haven't played the best of the best in the SEC, but I would still say the bottom half of the SEC is better than the middle half of the ACC, considering the ACC's champion had 5 losses. Um,
Yeah,
Not great. Um, and honestly, what this comes down to is I know that A&M has given up a lot of rushing yards. Miami's running back's not entirely healthy. A&M has also gotten a ton of rushing yards against some of the best rushing defenses the SEC has to offer. So it comes down to, do we trust a quarterback who earlier this season became the first SEC quarterback to overcome a 28-point deficit in a single half of football? Or do we trust a quarterback who's, if he hasn't broken it, I want to know what the record is for most 3+ interception games in a 2 year span?
that is a good
And
question.
I'm taking Marcel Reed. I think I don't trust that Carson Beck in Miami have what it takes to go into 103,000 raving lunatic cult members and have a better game plan, better execution, and better adjustments than Texas A&M with phenomenal coaches and an SEC roster. I don't trust Miami to be able to do that.
Mike, you
No,
want to
that's
go into your
certainly
notes
fair.
since you're here? Good to have you.
Yeah, what up, guys? No, yeah, no. John mentioned just a second ago, but Miami going into a road environment which has almost double the amount of people that they've played in front of anywhere all year. Probably at home too, but definitely on the road. Double the biggest crowd they've gone in front of. And then on top of that, Nick Saban said earlier today that A&M definitely pumps in crowd noise. So on top of that, that's something to deal with.
It is certainly a thing to deal with.
Yeah, and I don't think that's the first time I've heard that about A&M, but
My
I don't know.
question is, it's definitely illegal in the NFL. What do they do about it in college? Does anybody care?
I don't know who
Uh,
would look into it. I know they kind of, don't like the cowbell thing in Mississippi State, and they have rules for that and everything. But I don't know. I don't know. It's a good question.
yeah, have to look into
But
that.
yeah. definitely an off-season thing to look into for sure. Maybe before the next stuff. But our friend Robert Barons, who was on last week to talk about A&M, help us preview that game a little bit. He's been on kind of on a heater recently on X with some of his takes, gotten pretty viral last couple at least. He did say the other day that A&M fans should throw cotton on the field if they beat Miami. Because apparently that was the tradition back when they're in the old Southwest Conference when A&M would clinch a Cotton Bowl appearance, which I mean that tells you how far back that was.
Yeah.
That one Southwest Conference and two, it's probably been a long ass time since A&M's tried to clinch
Cotton
the
Bowl.
Southwest Conference, right? Um, but he had to walk that back a little bit. It's like, oh, we're talking about tradition, and I think he said like, yeah, it's probably tone deaf if you don't know about it, so maybe not do that. Which is yeah,
Yeah, fair.
yeah, that wouldn't look too good. A&M struggled with Texas defensive line in the last regular season game of the year, which honestly it's pretty comparable to Miami's. I don't know which one necessarily is better. I would probably say Miami, but I mean it's a coin flip, honestly. But they did struggle with that, and then like John was saying before. I mean, it's easy to trust Marcel Reed over Carson Beck, especially at this point after even with Carson Beck being not a starter, but a player in college football for the last 17 years. You still trust Marcel Reed more than him. But overall, I think Texas A&M wins, but I don't feel great about them covering that 3.5 point spread. I think that's what it still is now. Um, but if I had to put money on it, I'm saying, oh, my bad. Roll that back. A&M wins. I don't feel great about them covering it, but if I had to put money on it, I probably wouldn't do that, but I did take them money line when I put in some bets last week, which I'll talk about at the very end of this.
All right. Yeah, I've got to say the hardest thing about picking this game is just how up and down these teams have been all year. Like, I get Texas A&M only lost once, but they've looked really bad a few times this year and just got away with it with everybody but Texas because the teams they were playing were even worse. And Miami, I mean, we all know what happens when Carson Beck has an off day. So, that being said, I feel like Beck will be extra motivated for this game so we can earn a chance to be embarrassed by Georgia down the road. Not to mention A&M always collapses late in the season. Just because the collapse didn't start until rivalry week this year doesn't mean it won't happen this time. If I'm 100% honest with myself, this is just a vibe pick, but the vibe says that Miami is going to win, so I'm going to take them against my better judgment.
Ooh, it's gonna be different.
Yeah,
I,
sometimes you got to be different. We can't all
I mean,
agree.
I mean, we definitely want to hate watch this. I mean, I think
Oh
we
yeah,
definitely have way more fun if Carson Beck uh, just
throws
implode.
six interceptions.
Yeah.
if he does what he did almost every time he played an SEC road game when he played for Georgia.
Yeah.
Or like when he played at Louisville or SMU or
Hmm.
That Louisville
oh,
game was in Miami.
yeah. Oh, it's
Yeah.
still that bad. Oh boy.
All right. Y'all want to talk about Georgia's next opponent?
Please.
Yeah. So, Tulane at Ole Miss for this one again. Another rematch. This one in the same venue as the last game. Ole Miss minus 17.5 is the line. Over under 56.5.
And so I would love for Tulane to win this and for a Cinderella story in the college football playoff. But come on now. Like I don't see this as being as large of a victory for Ole Miss as it was in the regular season matchup. But I don't think it's going to be great. And I do think the coaching situation is talked about way more on the Ole Miss side than it is the Tulane side. But here's kind of my perspective on it. Ole Miss has a new coach. Ole Miss has a head football coach. Ole Miss players know who their coach is next year. They know right now if they are not going to enter the transfer portal in a couple of weeks because they know who their coach is. Tulane does not have their next head football coach. they have a guy who's coaching Florida next year who's still hanging around and playing double duty, trying to get Florida's recruiting class and scout transfers for Florida while coaching in the college football playoff. So I don't think anybody has the bandwidth to be able to take on both of those challenges at the same time. And if you're asking me, I'm going to go work for harder for the team that is paying me significantly more than the team that I am leaving. And I
Thanks.
like Tulane players don't know who their coach is going to be next week or at least after their next loss. Like they have no idea who that guy is.
And they don't know
So,
where they're going to be next year.
Yep.
right. And so I think that's much more of a mental factor than knowing, yeah, Lane's kind of a piece of crap, but we know who our next head coach is.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mhm.
I'm going to take Ole Miss to win this game, obviously, but I do think Tulane covers. That's just a massive point spread, and I could see this being a 20-point game in the fourth quarter, and Ole Miss just completely takes their foot off the gas and ends up winning by like 10 because it doesn't matter. They just have to win.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, one of the things that nobody knows is how Pete Golding's going to handle that kind of situation if they are in that situation, being up 20 in the fourth quarter. Is he going to go the Kirby route and kind of take the foot off the pedal a little bit and try to be respectful of the opponent? Always going to go the Dan Lanning route and just curb stomp him into oblivion. Who knows? Um, Now I'm gonna take this line from I think Josh sent this because he referenced six I'm sorry 960 the ref in Athens asking is Georgia gonna face Tulane or no lane uh, Sugar Bowl. So I thought that was a great line uh, for sure. But I do think that Ole Miss covers. I do expect Oxford to be completely insane for this first playoff game. They're again going to be just raging about with all the lane stuff. They have a lot of angst to get out and just show like, hey, we support this program. We're not going anywhere. They're gonna be crazy. Um, Hoping a lot of people still watch this game, even though there's NFL games going on at the same time. But really the question is, since y'all talked about this being a rematch, is it going to be as bad as the game in September? Probably not. I can't imagine it being like a 35-point game or whatever it ended up being um, back in week 1 or 2 or whenever they played. But like I said, probably not. But Tulane really isn't that great. And just kind of a devil's advocate question: do y'all think that Duke would have gave Ole Miss a better game than Tulane in this situation right now?
You know who
No.
definitely would have? Vanderbilt. But you have
Yeah,
to win the games
Yeah,
if you want to make the playoff.
I saw somewhere that
that is
said
in
Diego.
fact how that works.
Saw somewhere that said Diego Pavia's family that was at the Heisman ceremony was the inspiration for whatever crime family is going to be in the new GTA whenever that comes out.
That's funny. Um,
Yeah.
I will say I saw something on social media recently, and it said I do wish Lane was still like never left Ole Miss just for the vibe that they would have at Ole Miss this weekend, because you know the end zones would be painted with Merry Sipmas, and there would be Christmas trees made out of red Solo cups all
And
over
they'd have
campus.
and they'd have those like camo-ish Ole Miss helmets that they wore, kind
Yeah,
of Christmas vibe. That would be
Hmm.
dope.
yeah, they'd have Santa hats painted on them. There'd be a touchdown sleigh that you get to ride when you score a touchdown or get a turnover.
Nice.
There was a segment of Ole Miss fans that I saw after Lane left. They're like, we need to get rid of the powder blues and go back to our traditional stuff. Like, no, powder blues are dope. Those are the best
Yeah.
uniforms in college football.
Yeah, I have
Or
to agree
among the
with that.
best. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I don't know if y'all have seen this, and this more to John's point. Apparently, Trinidad Chambliss this week and his agent did a press conference, where Trinidad Chambliss basically said that he and his agent are weighing his options and discussing the best place for him to go for his future. And
That makes
that was what the press conference was about, not the upcoming game. So
So the
translation of
full
that,
the full audio clip that I saw was he was asked about his future and he said he would weigh all options.
which is what he
gotcha.
should do. I mean,
Yeah,
that's coach speak and probably should be pretty honest.
yeah. I mean, that's it's good that he's weighing his options, but if the translation though is he's out of there. And at a time when he should be thinking about how to get balls past the Tulane defense, it seems like he's putting at least some thought into where he's going to be next year. Guess the apple didn't fall far from the coaching tree. So, there you go. You can't make a wife. Anyway, so Pete Golding, during his own press conference, talked about how he doesn't want players who are just looking to get their next paycheck. He wants players that love football. He was talking about it like Kirby Smart talked about his team last year. A team, need I remind you, that cared so little about winning football games that Kirby Smart almost considered leaving the University of Georgia for the New York Jets.
I'm
Which
not sure.
means,
I'm still not sure I believe that.
I mean,
Yeah.
who knows? Who knows? But we do have two choices here. Either days before this game, Trinidad Chambliss opts out and transfers, which I don't think is going to happen, or he plays, but part of his mind is elsewhere and he's disengaged. And good things don't happen when your quarterback is disengaged. I know I'm a Georgia fan and had to sit through the whole 2024 season.
Fair.
So I fully expect Ole Miss to win this game just because they have a talent advantage. But come back in best bets to see how I feel about the 17.5 that I saw Vegas give Tulane.
All right, last game. This has been a little bit shorter, but normally I'm ranting and raving, and I don't have the voice or lung capacity right now to do that.
All
Yeah.
right. So oh, you can go ahead.
Ah, just gonna say it's James Madison at Oregon, thrilling night game to conclude things here. Probably not even a true night game. Probably daylight at kickoff. Oregon minus 21 is the line. Over under 47.5.
And I will say the thing I've learned the most from looking into this game is James Madison social media accounts, and not obviously their official accounts, but like what is it, JMU Sports News and Barstool
Yeah.
Dukes or something.
Hmm.
Two of the best pages
They're
on social
incredible.
media if you're an objective fan. And like I'm sure Oregon fans are even enjoying this because it's so obviously satirical. Like all of these
Oh yeah.
posts are obviously satirical. They're not even like when we say that, we understand that there's people that believe it's real when Kaleb puts the Ricky Bobby "I'm the best there is" over Gunnar Stockton talking.
Yeah.
Like
I
those
wake up and
people
piss
exist
excellence. Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
internet, and those people don't even think that what these JMU pages are posting is real. But it's
Right.
hilarious either way.
It is.
The
Um,
Oregon, I think like Oregon's in response to one of the videos said, yeah, digging into JMU and like it was like on like 8 times speed. They're like, holy shit, they're fast.
yes,
They're not lying.
like
No, the
it's
best one though, the best one was I think one of the first ones the JMU Sports News came out with was like after Notre Dame got left out and they were saying, rest now, Notre Dame, we have to watch. We'll see you in Valhalla. That was awesome.
Yeah.
That was so funny.
and then they did the post about Oregon's last 5 games against teams wearing purple and gold.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
James Madison's on the heart of the people for sure.
it's hilarious. But this is still a Dan Lanning coach team. I don't care who the offensive coordinator is because they went from Kenny Dillingham to Will Stein and got better. I don't think it's going to drop off too much. Uh, I don't care who the defensive coordinator is because it's still Dan Lanning.
Hmm.
I don't like. Does Oregon cover 21? I would say probably not. James Madison has one of the lowest completion percentage allowed as far as defense goes. Um, so this is probably going to be, I don't know, like 35-13, which I guess that is covering 21.
Yeah,
But
that would cover. But
But it feels closer than 21. No, I get what you're saying.
right, like
yeah.
it never, I don't know. James Madison does have a pretty good defense. Oregon's still pretty good. I don't think a whole lot of anything matters in this one other than does Oregon get out of this game with no injuries and does James Madison have fun? And if you're mad that James Madison is playing in this game and you're a fan of a team like Vanderbilt or Notre Dame or who's another team that thinks they had a chance?
Texas.
BYU.
Texas, BYU. Look, guys, win.
Yep.
If you want to make a playoff, you have to win. In a season like this, 10 wins does not guarantee you anything. You have to have impressive wins. You have to have not bad losses.
Yep.
I don't. Notre Dame would have been in if they had a single impressive win on the season.
You beat Miami or Texas A&M. You're in. Either one.
You could lose. You could have lost to USC or any of those other mid teams that you played. If you would have beaten A&M or Miami, you would have made the playoff.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah, starting off 0-2 is not a good look. They were buried before.
yeah, and still to this day, no team that has started out 0-2 has made the playoff. And the only team that's ever lost their very first game of the season and made the playoff is Alabama this year.
Yeah.
So you have to win the games that matter. And sorry, you didn't.
Yeah, I'm kind of. I mean, I'm with you on Oregon winning this, but I'm kind of the opposite side of it. I really think it's going to be kind of a like Oregon picking the score in this. So Oregon under Dan Lanning doesn't really do the Kirby thing where he tries to keep it close or respectful to lesser opponents. Um, I mean, they're just curb stomping people, not to the extent like Indiana does, but like I mean, they go all in. I do think Oregon does something similar to what they did against Liberty a couple years ago in the Fiesta Bowl, where it was, I don't even remember the margin of that. It felt like they won by 60. I don't think it was that bad, but it was a lot.
I think it was
I
like
go back,
42-7 final or something.
Yeah.
yeah, which it could have been much worse than that, I guess. But I don't think it's going to be as bad as that Liberty game, but I do think they cover. I did put money on them to cover, so I'm still hoping that they do. But I think I got it at 21.5, so they really need to win by more than what we have the spread on here for. But I do think they cover that, and I do think that Lanning wants to get Dante Moore more Heisman hype for next year because I'm sure he probably finished in the top 10. I don't remember what it was. I mean, he wasn't like close. Like I think he actually may not have. I don't know. I'd have to go back and look. I know I had it somewhere, but try to get that train rolling for next year.
Yeah. Mike, I will say you should know better than anyone that sometimes an underdog can fluke their way to one playoff win if the opposing team throws the game hard enough.
Which which one?
Uh, thinking about 2022, a certain situation that came up. Um, but yeah, I don't see it happening this time.
Wait,
James
is
Madison,
Oregon preparing for Georgia already?
maybe. Um, but yeah, I don't see it happening this time. James Madison, thanks for coming, enjoying the banner that you'll get to hang in your stadium. But Oregon is gonna completely boat race them. Dan Lanning, like you said, he loves running up the score on lesser opponents. Probably because in his first game as a head coach, he was the lesser team that got boat raced.
Yeah, he knows
Lots,
how it feels.
yeah,
For sure.
lots of references to 2022 in this analysis, but Oregon wins big.
And
Yeah,
the Audison Stadium is tough to play, and I mean, it doesn't really get talked about enough because obviously it's on the West Coast and it's only like 60,000 people in it, but like it sounds a lot louder than that. It's one of the toughest places in college football to play in James Madison. I I guess the biggest crowd they played in front of was Louisville, I guess this year, but
Yeah, that's
and not
tough
exactly a raucous environment out that way.
for
and I will
sure.
say another 2022 reference. The last time I was sick during the playoff was 2022. Um, Now,
All right.
I will say if I have a fever of 103 plus during Georgia's playoff game, I will probably actually go to the hospital this time instead of refuse to get off the couch where my jersey is draped over me because it's too hot to put it on. Um, uh, I probably will choose to actively not die this time.
That is
Um,
completely valid as a choice.
but I hope it doesn't get that far.
I mean, you're gonna be 30 when they play that game, so it hits different. Old ass
Good.
man.
Dude, I'm gonna know in 11 days. I'm gonna know what it's like to fart dust, and I'm not looking forward to it.
Speaking of which, I finally bought a walking boot for my foot that I haven't got physical therapy on because I just don't want to go. So there's that.
That's fair.
It's not. You need to go. Like, come on, man. How are we gonna keep the podcast running if your foot's too nasty to send feet pics?
Oh yeah, that's true.
That's fair. That's it. It has
Feet,
been.
Do it for the brand.
yeah, feet funds this whole thing. Come on now.
Some my
All right.
y'all
Let's
don't
get
want to see my feet. You really don't.
all right, let's get into best bets and for the week. And just to clarify, we are including bowl games, the next few days of bowl games in this one. So for me, I actually did just stick to playoff games myself. I've got Oklahoma plus 1.5. I'm pretty convinced they're going to win this game, and 1.5 is basically a pick 'em.
Same. Yeah, I'm with you there. I was gonna put that too, but I don't want to repeat it. But yeah,
Gotcha. And then we've got Miami versus A&M. I've got the over. I got it at 51.5, but based on what
oh
we've
no,
got in the notes now, it came down
he has like 49, 40,
48.5.
40
Yeah,
dang.
so y'all should definitely jump on that since that came down. Then I say that I'm mainly taking a gamble with it because these are both hot and cold quarterbacks. I'm just guessing that they'll both be hot. I am taking Tulane plus 17.5 against Ole Miss because 3 scores just seems like too much with the situation Ole Miss is in. I get there's a big talent gap, but Tulane is pretty good. Then next up, I've got the Oregon first half line at minus 11.5. And the reason I took this one is because we've talked about how we both kind of think, or we all kind of think, that Oregon's just going to run away with the game against James Madison. But when they have scored a lot in games this season, they've done it by bludgeoning teams in the first half. They scored 42 in the first half against Rutgers. So I think if Oregon is going to club James Madison like a baby seal, they're going to do it in the first half.
So for mine, I've got Bama versus Oklahoma over 41. Bama turned the ball over 3 times in the last game and still outgained OU. And I think, well, factually, the score from the last game hits the over in this game. And I do think OU's offense is better with John Mateer being healthy. And Bama doesn't commit suicide by turnover. I think both of those things leads to more points. Give me the over on that. Um, A&M minus half a point in the second half.
Ooh.
It's just who scores more points in the second half of the A&M Miami game. A&M, they've been a better second half team all season. Better coaches making better adjustments. Give me Miami all day, or A&M all day with minus half point. Kennesaw State +3, the 11 a.m. game tomorrow. Hootie hoo. The Owls are on one right now. Um, and the
11
last
a.m. at
team,
Myrtle Beach is lit. It's gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
God, Dirty Myrtle at 11 a.m. for a football game. That sounds like multiple STDs. Um, and then I got Trinidad Chambliss 1+ rushing touchdown, rushing or receiving, just can't throw it. And the line on that's minus 143. He rushed for multiple touchdowns in the first Tulane game. He's rushed for multiple touchdowns in every one of the big games they played this season. So give me 1+. And the last bet, I got Georgia to win the national championship +600.
Let's go.
Yeah, buddy.
Just good odds, man.
Yeah.
Like depending on where you look, they're third or fourth best odds, and they
Hmm.
have one of the easier paths. Okay.
Yeah,
Jump on it.
yeah, I'm with you there. No, we were talking about it, but I think I got them at +600, +700 when I did a futures bet a week ago when I was down in Jacksonville. So that was a good get. I might have to redo that because I don't know if my there's a parlay. I don't know if the Lions are gonna make the playoffs, so that's gonna screw it up. So I'm
And
gonna get a worse number, I'm sure. When I redo that. But
well, I got it at +600 today.
okay. It may change once they know their opponent, maybe, possibly. We'll see. I don't
I
know.
don't know.
Maybe not much. Who knows? All right. So, like you, I do have Kennesaw +3 against Western Michigan that Friday morning. Friday morning. It's an East Coast game. You can't get any further East Coast than Myrtle Beach.
Mm.
You have it at 11 a.m. That nobody cares, I guess. I don't know. Except me, I'll be watching it at work. But do have them against Western Michigan +3. Uh, Oregon JMU over 47.5. Again, I mean, heck, I mean, Oregon might be able to cover that themselves. Not that I think they will necessarily, but it's always a possibility. So that not too crazy of a number, I don't think. So I think over is a pretty safe bet there. Uh, I don't know how much of it my notes that you guys got into with the Oklahoma Alabama game because I was driving home late, but John Mateer over 34 and a half rushing yards against Alabama. Oklahoma's rushing game isn't great necessarily, but it's way better than Alabama's. And with a couple extra weeks to get healthy, John Mateer is going to be as healthy as he has been since the Michigan game. So I think they're really going to rely on him to get yards, and he's going to do it whatever way possible. A lot of that's going to be with his feet, I think. So again, the over 34 and a half. Jeremy Bernard over 2.5 rushing yards. That seems ridiculous.
Well, that is
Yeah.
6 more yards than the entire team had in the SEC championship game. So
Facts.
Yeah, but they're gonna have to do something to get that going because that's obviously not sustainable if they're gonna have to. I would think they would try to put more emphasis on it, but although Oklahoma's defense is obviously stout as well, but I mean hell, I mean if they do an end around or a jet sweep or something like that and hand it off, or it's not a pass, you can get 10, 15 yards, that's no problem. Malachi Tony anytime touchdown, I got it at -120. Miami's going to score. It's not like they're going to get shut out. Somebody has to do it. Malachi Tony's the only guy I've ever seen score for Miami. So took that there. And then two more JMU total team total yards under 265 and a half. Like I said, I think Oregon's just going to just, pick their number and just kind of suffocate them. So I'm not really too confident that they're going to have a great offensive output out there in Eugene. And then finally, not an official bet necessarily, but over the rest of the offseason, over 2.5 Midwest coaches being fired before Labor Day for being too horny.
we're already at 2.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
we'll get one more. I mean,
we will.
things like that come in threes.
So does Sharon Moore.
Wait.
Ayo. Okay.
Wait. What do you define as Midwest?
Yeah, that is a good question.
Do
I
you classify Missouri as Midwest?
I would consider Missouri Midwest. They're definitely not
Okay.
Southeast for
All right. Well,
sure.
if okay, what about Arkansas? There's purpose for that question.
Because where Arkansas laid in the civil rights movement, I would say they're South, but yeah.
About to say that puts Eli Drinkwitz and Butch Jones in the horny enough to get fired category.
I can see Eli doing that though. I think that's fair. He's too red. I don't see that happening. I don't
Well,
know.
dude, Lane's already doing hot yoga with LSU cheerleaders. It's like, dude, and posting it on his Instagram. Come on,
Facts.
man. Like, I don't.
Come on, man.
You're not even Joey Freshwater anymore. You're just
Joey Swampwater.
Lane.
Yeah.
You're just Lane slightly rapey. Like, I don't. It's so
Well,
bad. It's so
yeah.
bad.
Okay, so we already have a Big Ten coach that did this. Now there's a MAC coach that did it. I mean, I'm sure there's got to be something. Something's brewing in the water in Michigan and Ohio, and hopefully it's not the Flint water. It's got them going that way.
All right, y'all. We're not
All
gonna do
right,
the
well.
full. Oh, you got something?
I was just gonna close it out. So if you're gonna do it, go ahead.
Yeah, we're not gonna do the full closeout. Y'all know where to find us on social media. Y'all know where to rate and review the show 5 stars. Follow us, all that good stuff. But always remember, y'all, there's nothing finer in the land.
Than a
Been a
drunk,
obnoxious
obnoxious Georgia fan.